Today, I decided to look at some of the older concept arts that was released back when the game was only in closed beta. I'll be showing 4 concept arts that were provided by Mike, a Twitter account that I found, showing some early designs of characters and maps. According to the Twitter post, the images were provided by Atey Ghailan. I have no idea if I said that right. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. But due to him leaving Riot, these images were released. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend checking him out. I have a link in the description if you want to see it for yourself, but here is some of his work. This is the first image that was provided. There's a few things that I can point out, so let's start with some of the obvious. This is clearly the map Ascent, and is most likely some past version of it, as there is water in the canals. If we take a closer look, we can clearly see CT spawn with the fountain. In the background, we can also see what seems to be a claw grabbing some sort of orb. This is not in the current map, and is really a shame as that looks super cool. I think it's safe to assume this image was the events that happened after Jet and Phoenix had a duel in the cinematic, as we can see with the floating island. But let's move on to the 4 characters in the front. I say 4 because the last guy to the right wearing blue looks so casual, he doesn't seem to be anyone important. Sorry, blue shirt. On the left, we have 3 characters who seem familiar. You have what seems to be a younger Brimstone, and what also seems to look like a Cypher, but that's kind of a long shot as I don't recall Cypher ever smoking. Maybe this was him when he was a lot younger. We also have a really young looking Omen. This Twitter user says it all. That's one bootleg Omen. And lastly, we have this pink-haired female character. Currently, there is no pink agent in the Valorant roster, but it would be nice as my favorite color is pink. There isn't much I can tell about her other than she has a small cape and her gun seems to be really limp. And so now we have the second image, and in the second image we have something that's a little bit more interesting. Here we have what seems to be a fully designed map that seems to be some place that exploded and turned into ice. The only map that we have that's something similar to this is Icebox. And I don't like that map. That map is bad. We also have a character in the center of the frame who is wearing knight armor. We can see the metal shin arm pads as well as a chest plate. She also has a sword on her waist. At first, I thought this was a knife skin, but after taking a closer look at her entire character, she seems to be an Asian that looks only to be a knight. Perhaps her abilities have something to do with that sword and maybe might be a melee character. Overall, I wish she made it into the game as having a melee based character would be somewhat interesting. Along with that, if you look at her waist, she has some sort of circular device which also might be something that has to do with her abilities. The map as well seems to be an awesome idea, and I don't want to think that Riot would simply just throw it away. This most likely could be a future map. The third image here shows to what seems to be 3 agents. At first glance, the one in the center looks to be Viper. Sharing the same color scheme as well as a mask, I thought that this was an early concept of Viper. But if we take a look at the green stuff around this character, they look more like vines rather than smoke. And the reason I say vines is because if you look at the pavement, gas shouldn't be able to break concrete like that. Because vines have to do with nature, this leads me to believe that this might be Sky, but at the same time I don't want this to be Sky as this agent looks really cool. I really hope this character makes it into the game. Now, hear me out on this one. I strongly believe that this character on the right is a younger version of Breach. The reason why I say that is that the same life jacket style is worn by both this image and the Breach we know now. The color scheme is also very identical, as well as his shirt on the inside has some sort of design. The current Breach doesn't have that bunny chibi design that this one has, but still has something similar. Perhaps this agent's, this green one, is what tore off his arm, explaining why he has robotic arms now. But unfortunately, our Breach now has golden brown hair, and in the concept it just seems to be dark brown, and the sideburns are also just not there. We then got this agent to the left. When I was looking at the file posted by Atey, he named the file Viz Dev Illustration. I want to believe that Viz is the agent's name or codename of this agent. Viz being her, Dev Illustration being the developer's artwork. I think it's only fair that I call her Viz, so from now on I'm gonna refer to her as Viz. Hey, this is future me editing the video. I realized after reading the script again that Viz Dev Illustration could have been a typo, as Viz Dev Illustration is an acronym for Visual Dev Illustration, and that Atey might have misspelled Vis for Viz, but I'm still going to stick with it because I think it sounds kind of cool. But anyways, back to the video. Her character has green tattoos on her right arm, what seems to be a ponytail colored in a yellow ribbon, and 2 earrings on her right ear, a yellow striped jacket, and what's more interesting is the silver ring around her arm. We'll get to that in a bit, but I think that ring is the basis of her abilities. She's also carrying an operator as well, but that doesn't say much of what her character is. Maybe you like Jet, she's a character that's able to reposition very quickly. Also, the subtitle of this artwork was named Final, which suggests that this is what these 3 characters would look like. I could be wrong that might be Breach, but they share too many similarities to think that isn't. And this is the final image provided by the Twitter post. Here we can see Viz again, but in a different perspective, showing more of her character. Notice her bracelet becomes looser than what it was in the last picture. This makes me believe her ability is centered around that steel ring on her arm. Maybe she punches people like that new Marvel movie coming out, or maybe even she teleports with it similar to Loba in Apex Legends. Looking at more of her character, her jacket resembles what seems to be of Asian descent, as well as we can see her ponytail and the green tattoos yet again. Her whole character is giving me Yakuza vibes, but maybe she isn't Japanese as we recently just got Yoru. It's hard to make out, but there seems to be something in her left hand. I think it's safe to say that it was just prop and has nothing to do with her actual character. And yet again, the whole image is just a sense but on fire and floating. Now I would say that ends there, as the Twitter post only provides those 4 images. But if we take a look at Atey's portfolio on ArtStation, there is one image that stands out to me. It's this image between Yoru and Viz's illustration. It's simply called Illustration 2, and that's about it as it goes for naming. None of the tags either explicitly say that it's from Valorant, unlike the ones in Yoru's. Now taking a look at it, it could seem that this might just be some sort of concept art or art in general for something else completely different. But taking a closer look at the 2 dead soldiers on the ground, they both have this triangle on them, and that triangle is found almost everywhere in Valorant. Now, yeah, sure, it's a triangle and shapes are found everywhere, but the colors in this image and the ones in Valorant are nearly identical. It can be found in the default gun's reticle and many places on the mini-map Valorant has. So I strongly believe that this is a concept agent for Valorant, even though it doesn't say that it is for Valorant. I mean, look at this dude, he looks so freaking cool. Who doesn't want this guy in Valorant? His one red eye and the smokes coming out, as well as that alpha clothing he is wearing, he looks just so elegant and a well-designed character that I don't know if you ever played those games like Age of Empire or something, but like he looks like one of those leaders with like the cool golden clothing. But if I had to choose out of all the agents that we saw, it's got to be this guy. That was all for this video, and it's such a shame to see Atey leave Riot as his work is just so amazing. It's also really a shame that none of these agents are in the game either. If you guys like this video, consider hitting that subscribe button. It would encourage me to make more content like this, and maybe a like too if you like the video. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to my crippling depression of ELO hell, trying to climb the ranks. Hope you guys have a good one. Later.